Okay, I think I'm live. I haven't done this for quite a while, actually. So I want to make sure I'm on a platform that I do my lives on, and I've just changed it a bit this morning and added YouTube and Facebook. So I'm hoping that you can see me in Facebook and on YouTube. Let me know if you pop on, and if you can hear me and see me, that'd be really good. If you could pop a comment on, that'd be great. Might be a little bit of trial and error today with this platform because I have actually changed it. It's I've upgraded. So hey Lou, how are you? You can hear me, you can see me. Yeah. Great. Awesome. I'm very excited to be back doing the weekly lives. And I've upgraded the platform here. Awesome. Fantastic. Let me just, I'm on a really good platform. So I should be on, are you on YouTube? Oh, it didn't work on Facebook. Ah, okay. Let me just go into the Facebook one. Okay, it has me up there now, I think. YouTube. Oh, yep, I can hear me. Okay, it has me up there now. It's a little bit slow. I think. YouTube. Oh, yep, I can hear me. I think it's on Facebook now. But it might be there might be a little bit of a time delay with that. So let me just check my settings. Let me just check here. I think it should be. Okay, I might close that. Okay. Anyway, we'll see if there's a replay. I should be able to get a replay as well. But if you're popping on and you can hear me and see me, pop in the chat and say hello. If you have any questions, so Lou, if you have any questions, how are you enjoying the group? How are you going with your Off the Track Thoroughbred? Let me know how you're going and any questions. This is our first live for 2023. And if you're on, and let me know if you're on YouTube or Facebook. Let me go in here. I think we're all good. If you can comment. If you can't comment, well, then you can't let me know that you can't comment. But anyway, this is our first let me have a look. Okay. I think maybe Facebook has just come on now, actually. Oh, what have I done? Oh, hey, Lou, you're on Facebook. Awesome. Oh, reload. Okay. Reload. What's happened here? Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Awesome. What's happening? So I've got Facebook and I've got YouTube. Awesome. Okay. So if you have any questions, just let me know how you're going with your Off the Track Thoroughbred, how you're enjoying the group. And I've got a question from, so I've got a question to answer today from Paula. So Paula, I know Paula is over in WA, and it's ridiculously early over there. I think it's about 3 hours earlier. So she's probably 5 o'clock, and I don't expect her to get up at 5 o'clock. So I've got Paula's question. I'm going to open it up in Facebook and answer that. And in the meantime, if you have a question you'd like to ask me, let me know. But with Paula, let me go into Paula's question. And up there now. Let me turn me. I don't want to hear. When I'm going into the group, I can hear myself talk. Okay. Where is Paula's question? Here we go. Okay. I hooked it up. Is that pretty cool? Here we go. Okay. Okay, so this is Paula's question was she can't make the live, but she wanted to ask. So Paula says, I want to ask about how to feed for weight gain without making your horse hot. So my mares aren't in work. One is a very good doer. The other is very bad. I've tried so many different feeds, but have landed on Speedy Beat and CopRice, which is rice bran, as the best so far for cool feeds. Is there anything else you can come across that is good conditioning cool feed? So I know Paula really well. So Paula's in our paid online course group and that. So I know her horses. So I've asked Paula if it was the mare. I said, is it the mare that's not maintaining weight? So she's been sick. She's been sick. She's had cellulitis and she windsucks. And so Paula says, yes, that's the one. When I first got her, she's put on weight quite well, but she's super fussy and it was a struggle. She would get hot very easily. Yeah, I remember that. After much trial and error, she got to a good weight and all was well. But since then, she's had a growth spurt and then this infection. And she lost quite a bit of condition before she could fill out her new frame. She was 16.2 when I got her. Also, they said now she's a bit whisker off 17 hands. She's a big girl. How old? I can't remember how old she is, Paula, but she'd only be young anyway because she's off the track. And she's still growing. So her hips have doubled in size. CopRice has helped a lot. She's getting there slowly on that. She's also still having mild infection flare-ups in the back lights. I'm getting there slowly as well. Okay, so Paula, because I know the history of her and she's been sick, the best feeds to put on weight. So interesting, the CopRice is working really well because it's easily digestible and it's high in fat. So that's telling me that, and we know that she's still sick. So what are the reasons? So because this will be a replay and other people will be watching it and wanting to learn from it, to look first of all, so she's a hard doer and she has been sort of from day one, even though she was putting on weight. So when you first got her, she was putting on weight well. I think then too, that's if by memory, I think when you were feeding the grain, you were feeding wheat. And so so the wheat's very fattening for a start. It's very high in calories. And as you know, it's very heating and it's very bad for the digestion. Wheat, if any type of wheat feed is not good to feed, it damages digestive processes, the digestive system, because it causes a lot of inflammation. It damages gut lining, but that's another topic. We've been down that one. But so when you first got her, she was putting on weight. So I'm wondering if that's it. She's off the track, so she's going to have a compromised digestive system. And now, because she's been sick and she's been on antibiotics, she's also going to have a compromised digestive system. So because she's putting on weight really well with the CopRice, that's high fat. So I'm going to say that she's got a compromised digestive system to start with, and also too because of the antibiotics and her being sick, and she's also struggling with her immune system as well, if she's still getting the flare-ups with cellulitis. And so high fat's going to be the way to go. But just for everybody else, if you've got a horse that's struggling with weight gain, you want to look at, there's a few things. So I already know with Paula's horse that she would be getting ample feed. So the first thing you want to look at is, are they getting enough feed? So horses that your horse needs at least 2 to 3% of their body weight in a forage, like a long stem forage, like your hays and your good grasses. And so not grains or anything like this, the 2 to 3% of their body weight. So just say for a 500 kilo horse, you're looking at 10 to sort of 15 kilos of like your long stem forage and your chaffs, but you don't want to feed too much chaff because that you don't get your good adequate chewing from that. So you can include chaff in it, but mainly it includes your long stem forages like your hays and your grasses. But do include the amount of chaff that you get. You want to keep your hard feed small, so you don't want to be overloading the digestive system with big things of chaff, but include that into your weight. If you're giving, 2 dippers of chaff, I give a kilo of chaff to my horses, half a kilo to a kilo of loosened chaff in my feeds for my horses, to give you a bit of an idea. And I wouldn't do more than a kilo each feed of chaff. So that's making sure that they're getting, so I know Paula's horse would be getting plenty of forage in that. So this gives me an idea of why she's losing weight. And I know too that you were giving her, I think you were giving her like your flax seeds and the lupins and making sort of a boiled crock potty type of thing, which is interesting that she didn't put weight on that. But once again is telling me that she's got some digestive issues and she's not digesting she's not digesting the nutrients very well. And she's probably come off the track. I don't know if you've had her scoped for ulcers. I don't think you have. Or have you? But I would say being a windsucker, also too, the fact that she's a windsucker gives me the idea that she's probably got some gastric ulceration in there. So that's going to compromise her digestive system. And particularly if she was fussy, I'd say that she has gastric ulceration, which is probably part of the reason why she's not putting on weight, even though a lot of horses that have ulceration can hold their weight, particularly, if you're feeding grains and things like that, because they've got a lot of calories in them. But I would say her, so sorry, I'm all over the place here, but just one of the reasons why a horse will lose weight, teeth, that's pretty, we all know about teeth, don't we? Making sure that they've got their teeth. So I know Paula's horses would have their teeth done. You've got your calorie intake. Now, if they are having problems with metabolizing their food, then they're not going to be absorbing the nutrients. They're not going to be absorbing the calories. So that's going to cut the calorie intake down. And that could be one of the reasons why she's not putting on weight, Paula, because her digestive system is compromised. And we have the intestinal parasites as well. I think the teeth and worms are pretty common. We know that a worm burden and bad teeth are going to affect weight gain. You could look at, I know your horses would be adequately wormed, Paula. It's a bit, with the worming, how they can get, it's known that they have a worm resistance. So it might be worth doing a fecal count with her, just to see, because there's a lot of problems with worm resistance with our worming paste nowadays, whether you do any fecal counts. It might be worth doing a fecal count and just making sure that you are changing wormers if there is some, because I've known some people have been worming their horses, and I saw one on Facebook, actually. He was regularly wormed and then changing to a rotational wormer, and he was struggling with weight gain and just pooped out these massive amount of worms. So just, considering whether she's got she's got some resistance to the worming paste, and whether a rotational wormer, if you're not doing that, is the way to go, something to consider. And also too, I know that small strongles, I actually saw this, small strongles can cause gradual weight gain. So looking at maybe a rotational wormer that you're not using, or if you're doing that, yeah, just thought I'd point that out and point that out for anyone else that's listening that will be listening to the replay. And if their horse isn't maintaining weight, doing a fecal egg count and checking that you're not doing the traditional worming every 4 to sort of 8 weeks, because there's going to be the worms are going to start to become resistant to the worming paste, and that's a big issue at the moment. There's lots of articles out on that, on worm resistance. I've just got some notes down here. Just thought I'd remember what we know. Our gastric ulceration, anything to do with compromised gut health, is going to cause weight gain problems in some horses, and you've got your gastric ulceration in the stomach, which quite often will make horses fussy to eat, which makes me think that your mare may have gastric ulceration, Paula. And also too, even though is she eating now or she's still fussy, but also to hindgut acidosis, which is quite common in off-the-track thoroughbreds from their high-grain diet, because the healthy hindgut acidosis means the hindgut is acidic. It hasn't got a very healthy amount of the good bacteria in the gut. It has a huge amount of your starch, what do you call them? Little bacteria, like the microbiome that breaks down starch. There's a huge overgrowth of that in the hindgut, and your healthy good bacteria that breaks down forage is very low, usually in off-the-track thoroughbreds. So when you take them off the track and you're getting the grain out of their diet, they haven't got a good amount of the healthy bacteria to be able to break down your grasses and your hays and things like that. So they're not absorbing the nutrients very well. So that's why a lot of the time your off-the-track thoroughbred will start to lose weight, because they haven't got the good bacteria in there to be able to break down and absorb the nutrients and the calories from your grain-free, high forage diets. So part of that is healing the diet. I've got some YouTube videos on this, but healing the gastrointestinal system. And, you are going to maybe lose weight with your off-the-track thoroughbred, but you'll see usually within a year, they'll start to put weight back on if you can be patient and keep a grain-free diet and add things like your high fats to help get the calories in. And so this is what I'm going to talk about for you, Paula, because I think that your mare's digestive system, it's definitely compromised, because we know she's been on antibiotics, from a cellulitis, and that's killed the good bacteria. So we need to get a really healthy growth of good bacteria back in the gut. And also to look at the gastric ulceration, because that could be being the reason she's fussy. And, if she's got some ulcers there. But we'll chat about that. Let me know if you have had a scoped or not. I don't think you have, but you may have. And just for everybody else, just talking about reasons that they lose weight, we've got the digestive function. You've got it's not usually common in off-the-track thoroughbreds. We're off-the-track thoroughbreds, but with your older horses, if you've got an older horse that has Cushing's and that, they struggle with weight gain. So there's any chronic illnesses are going to cause problems with weight gain. One of my old off-the-track thoroughbred, I'm having problems with weight gain for him. Now, I know that he's hi. Facebook user. So I come up here as a Facebook user, so I don't know your name. I'm going to have to work on letting you, I'll change the settings so we can pop our name up. But yeah, if you don't want me to know who you are, that's fine. But just let me know who you are so I can call you by name. And I'll work out how to pop up who's commenting. So for that, is a mineral salt block enough of a balance for those that live out 24/7? No, it's not. Now, the reason for that is because the horses have a soft tongue. So they haven't got, for the salt blocks and the mineral blocks are really good for cattle because they have that really rough tongue. I don't know if you've ever had a cow lick you, but they've got this really rough tongue and they can adequately get enough of the salt and mineral off the block. Horses haven't. They can bite it, so they will take chunks out of it. But firstly, they're usually not going to get enough of what they need from a salt block. And two, if they're out on pasture, depending on your pasture, this is a bit, it can go into a more complex issue with if you're having pasture issues, because quite a lot of pasture, particularly if it's green, lush grass, is very high in potassium. And it's very low in salt. Now, if the horse is getting more potassium than salt, they actually it stops them from eating enough salt. They start to lose a craving for salt. So they're usually, with salt blocks, not getting enough salt because they're not craving it because of the extra potassium from pastures. So salt blocks generally aren't enough for horses that live out. Ideally, it's best to be able to hand feed them in some form to give them at least some type of supplement. If you can't, the second best way is to have loose licks. So I'm not sure where you are. If you're in Australia, there's some really good loose licks. I'm sure there's overseas, but there's Belinda's Amazing Minerals loose licks. So, or just loose salt. If you put loose salt, I put loose salt out in tire feeders for my horses, and they can consume a lot more of the loose salt than they can of a salt block. You could break your salt block up and do that, but loose licks are a much better option for horses that live out 24/7 because they can consume more and they're getting a larger amount. They just usually more than often don't get enough from the salt blocks. So I hope that answers that for you. Let me know where you are, but loose licks are a much better option. And also just your loose, I just put out, my horses get hard fed, so I put in extra salt. I've had a huge amount of pasture issues, so that's another story. But yeah, I have a lot of pasture issues. So I give them salt in their hard feeds, but I also put out loose salt as well because of the high amount of potassium in grass. They need extra salt. And that's just your plain sort of table salt. So I hope that answers that. And going back to the weight. So weight, so we're looking at your chronic illnesses and everything. So with you, Paula, I would say that she's, because she's doing so well on the COP rice, it's easily digestible. It's very high in fat and high in calories. And so that's why I think she's got digestive issues. She's not being able to absorb the calories and the nutrients. So what you can do to help get on weight, and you want cool feeds as well, so you obviously don't want anything to heat her up, I'd be looking at the fats. So oil. You can, oil is fantastic to put weight on horses. So with my off-the-track thoroughbred here, he's got, I have problems with loose stools. So I was going to ask too whether her manure is loose, like cow patty type, or is she quite firm and healthy looking in a manure? If it's a bit loose, she's more than likely got hindgut acidosis and she's not absorbing her nutrients properly. So my older boy has that. He's an older horse. So they tend to sometimes have issues with weight gain as they get older, and their digestive system can become a bit compromised. He's been affected by the pasture problems as well, and being older, he's not able to handle that very well. But Paula, I'd be adding oil to her diet. Stay on the COP rice because that's obviously doing well. But what you can do is you can get more, what you need to do is to get more calories in for her. And then while you're doing that, look at the core reason of why she's so hard to get weight on, which we can talk more about that in another Facebook Live or through private message or whatever. But to get more weight on her, what you can do is you can add canola. So I really like a good mix of, for weight gain, canola and rice bran oil. The only problem is you need to be looking at the omega-3 to omega-6 balance. But the good thing about oils is you only need one. You can feed up to 2 cups of oil a day. Let me think. I haven't got it written, but I know like 1 cup of oil is worth about a dipper of oats. So that's a lot of calories, and it gets absorbed straight through the intestinal walls. So it takes very little digestion at all for the horse to be able to absorb the calories and the nutrients. So your copper rice is easily digestible. It still takes a bit of digestion, but that's giving me the signs that she's having problems digesting the calories. So adding oil on top of your rice bran, your copper rice, would help. We need to look at her omega-3 to omega-6 and calcium phosphorus ratios. I think you're on Feed Excel, so you can do that. But canola's got even though it's higher in omega-6, canola is really good because it's got a good amount of omega-3 in there as well. You could mix canola. So what you could do, Paula, is you could make an oil mix for her. We can talk about it more, but maybe you could add up to 2 cups a day of oil to her diet. And you could look at mixing maybe a rice bran, flaxseed, canola oil mix to keep her so she's not too high in omega-6. So the rice bran's really good as well, because not only is it high in calories, but it's got what is I'm not sure how her top line is. I presume if she's not holding weight, that she's probably struggling with her top line as well. But it's got a natural steroid in it, rice bran, and that's maybe why it's helping with weight gain, because it helps build muscle. So that takes me on to another point, is with weight gain, is she getting adequate protein? Because if she's not digesting her food properly, she's not being able to absorb the nutrients. She may not be getting enough amino acids. And her muscle development may be compromised. So looking at lucerne, I don't know if do you feed lucerne, Paula? Lucerne chaff, lucerne hay. But another thing I was going to mention for you, which is a cool feed, which is good for putting on weight, is soybean meal. You want to make sure that it is a reputable soybean meal that is cooked correctly, so it hasn't got the trypsin inhibitor in it. Otherwise, we're going down the path of it stopping the absorption of protein. So muscle development and weight gain, good protein is needed for that. If she's not absorbing her nutrients correctly, she may not be getting all the amino acids. So I would be looking at adding soybean meal, and because you're in Australia, adding protein pack, Pride's protein pack. So that's really good for weight gain. It's really good for building muscle development and top line. But once again, both your copper rice and your soybean meal are high in phosphorus and low in calcium. So we need to look at the calcium phosphorus ratio there. Otherwise, we'll have the problems with an imbalance in that. The Speedy Beet is good. And once again, Speedy Beet is very digestible, which makes me think that she's having problems with her digestion and absorbing the nutrients, because she's doing really well on the copper rice and the Speedy Beet. But Speedy Beet's good because it's got a higher calcium to phosphorus ratio. So that's helping to balance out the copper rice. So yeah, Paula, let's look at adding, or we can talk more about it, but the soybean meal, and you're in Australia, so I wouldn't use anything other than Pride's protein pack. And also adding some oil to a diet. We don't want to get too over the top with the oil. But if you gradually, horses can generally absorb oil really well because their system seems to do really well on fat. So yeah, as long as you are gradually increasing it in their diet and not just all of a sudden throwing in 2 cups of oil over a 2 to 3 week period, increasing it up to, a cup to 2 cups max, they can do really well. And making sure their feed is not too oily so that they're not eating it. So breaking it up to 2 to 3 feeds a day. So Yeah, Paula, I'd be looking at soybean meal, so Pride's protein pack, and adding vegetable oil to a diet, doing a mix of maybe, she might not even need the rice because you're feeding rice bran. You could do a mix of maybe canola and flaxseed oil. So the sen oil and the canola oil. If she wasn't doing well on the flax, I'm not sure if you're still feeding the flax seeds, but once again, that's making me think she's got digestive issues. So that's that for the feed. Then they're both cool feeds. The protein pack, the soybean meal is a cool feed. And it's going to look at adding the good, some good amino acids in her diet as well, which could be maybe part of the reason that she's struggling with her weight gain. And also too, because she's growing, she needs a really good protein source to help her grow. So your protein levels may be a problem. She may not be getting enough protein either, Paula. So we can talk more about that, and also go on FeedXL and just see how her protein levels are. And then knowing that because of her recent antibiotic use, her history of struggling with weight, she may not be, even if her protein levels are looking good on FeedXL, she may not be absorbing them, all of it. And then what I would do, Paula, is once we're getting her so that, because if she's struggling with the cellulitis still, she needs the energy and the calories for her system to be able to fight the infection. So getting the CopRice and getting some extra soybean meal and oil is really good. Then getting to the root cause of why she's struggling. Now, gastric ulceration, okay, is one reason. She's a windsucker. So I would say she's probably got some discomfort of gastric ulceration in there, even if it could be in the hindgut, the stomach, or both. You had her on, and now it's taking me back to, now it's all coming back to me, Paula. You had her on from the vet. You had her on the slippery elm. So that's interesting. Let me know how you're going with the slippery elm, because I know that your vet said slippery elm is as good as the gastrointestinal, like the UlcerGuard, like the ulcer, omeprazole paste. So maybe you're already addressing the ulcers, and I think you are. So we can chat more about that. But also too, because she's been on antibiotics, her the good bacteria is really going to be out of balance. She's going to have killed, like, a lot of the good bacteria, if she had any to start with, is going to be even worse. So I'd be looking at trying to build up a really good, healthy, bacteria in her hindgut. Now, because she's not digesting, usually your good high foragers are doing that, but because she's had the antibiotics, and there's so many different types of, and I think you've tried probiotics and all of that. I know I don't know what you're doing on the probiotic side or what you have done, but there's something, and whether you've tried this, Conkyzone Fabi is supposed to be really good for building up the good bacteria. There's another one as well. I'm trying to think. We can talk more about that, but I would be looking at the root cause, and I think you're already doing with that gastric ulceration. And I really think her hindgut is compromised, and the good bad bacteria levels are completely out of balance, and how to get that back into a healthy balance is going to take some time, but also, trial and error with certain products, and making sure that her hindgut is not acidic, so that she's so the good bacteria is able to multiply. Another one we're talking about, and I think we discussed this, is the calcium bentonite clay. I'm actually having some really good results with that, with a few things, completely not related to weight gain. Well, it could be. It's actually supposed to be very good for the digestive system, but hoof splits, bad feet. I've had terrible problems with seedy toes. So anything to do with seedy toe and splits in the hooves, because we have such wet weather over here. The calcium bentonite clay is amazing for treating hoof problems. I literally had transformations overnight with some of my horses. So that's another topic. But yeah, your calcium bentonite clay is incredible for hoof issues. But the calcium bentonite clay is supposed to balance out, create a more alkaline environment in the hindgut. So I've been syringing 40, like 2 heaped tablespoons, and you activate it. I've been syringing it, giving it as a syringe paste to some of my horses. I've only just started, so we'll see how I go, but I've got 2 horses. One horse has hindgut acidosis and glandular ulcers, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes on the bentonite clay. And as I've mentioned before, my older horse has a lot of problems with weight gain, but he's 22, rising 23, and he's had a lot of problems with loose stools. That the chamomile flowers are helping really well, but yeah, we'll see how he goes on the bentonite clay. But Paula, yeah, looking at healing her gut, which I think you already know, but to get more, to start to help her get weight on without her having to, with her compromised gut, is fats, really, really good fats. So you give doing the cop rice, and that's the reason it's working, because it's easily digestible and it's adding good fat. I would increase the oil. So I'd be looking at canola oil, sen oil, or another stabilized flaxseed oil, and maybe the rice bran oil. You could add a little bit of that in as well. And you could even feed her up to 2 cups a day of that. So yeah, as long as you're gradually introducing it, and then she's just getting a massive amount of high fat and like a really good amount of calories. So that's what I'd suggest, Paula. So yeah, let's discuss it more when you watch this replay. What was I going to mention? I mentioned, so yeah, I went through all the worming and that. Maybe she's got some type of worm resistance there. You could look at that. It was interesting. This other horse, as I mentioned, he had been regularly wormed, and then as soon as they did a rotational wormer, bang, like he just had all these massive worms come out. And that small strongles are one of the reasons for gradual weight loss. So that to consider. Your protein, making sure she's getting enough protein and if she's absorbing it correctly. And the good microbiome, your good microbiome in your gut. So that's all to do with weight gain. So yeah, let me know, Paula, what you think, and we can chat more. If you're on and you have a question and you want me to answer it, pop it in the comments and I can answer it for you. With the mineral block, yeah, look, I hope that answered that question for you. If you want any further information, I can give you a good, there's some really good loose licks available in Australia. I'm not sure about overseas, but yeah, putting out loose salt is definitely what I do, and I find the horses will consume a lot of that when they need it. If you've got green grass, if the horses are living out 24/7 and you've got very lush green grass as well, or just even green grass, they need plain salt. So even if you have the mineral block, I'd be popping out a plain salt, just plain table salt as well, or sea salt. Yeah. So any questions, pop them in the comments. Otherwise, I might leave. We might be able to be going. I've been going for about 40 minutes, so I can leave it here. Hey, Lou. At what stage in the rehabilitation training program would you take your OTTB off-site? Good question. So, Lou, if you've been in a group, and you know that I teach off the track equitation science. So do you know, have you seen in any of the resources at the top about equitation science? And you're on my YouTube channel. So cool. You've got a lot of the, seen a lot of the videos there. So I wouldn't take my horse off site until you're very consolidated in your stop and go. Are you talking about taking off site under saddle, like going to a riding club, or just taking off site in hand somewhere? Taking for a walk along the beach. But either way, you're a paid member. Hey, Lou, are you in there? I'm so sorry, I didn't realize that. Are you in the academy where I'm putting up the retraining and OTTB with size, with Ty? You're in the, where I've just uploaded the last lesson? Because I know quite a few members aren't in the academy side. There's a heap of, and I'm doing the weekly Zoom sessions in the paid. Are you over there? But anyway, let me know, because if not, I'll give you a link to that. So you don't want to be taking them off site until you've got your groundwork really consolidated and you stop and go in hand. Now, depending if you're taking them off site in hand or under saddle, but either way, in hand, making sure that your horse is stopping and going and they're relaxed in the environment, and then gradually. Lou. Okay, you've come from a different one. Yeah, that's hey, yeah. Sorry, you're coming off as a different name. Yeah, so Ella's been really full of herself, hasn't she? How did you go? So, yeah, look, the main thing is you want to be able to have control of her and be able to, because she seems to be really full of herself. Has she eased down any? So it's really cold over there at the moment, isn't it? So if you're get her off that weight, because I think you're going to see a huge difference once you remove the weight from a diet. And then because, yeah, I know, I had that. Seriously, I could hardly work my horses over the last year because of the mud. It was just horrible. There was so much mud. It was just disgusting. And if you've been sick as well, it's really hard. But in saying that, it's probably a good time to be able to evaluate a diet and just to see if she starts to change once you get that weight out. Once you get the wheat brand, what was, I think it was Mill Run, anything to do with wheat, Mill Run, any of that. Have it really, because it's hidden in a lot of feeds and it's so bad for your horse. I saw a person that was feeding, particularly overseas. You get these terrible, I don't know about Sweden, but over in the US and the UK, all these, I think you are, because I think you've got a Purina feed, haven't you? They've got all these hidden bad ingredients in them, not only your wheat brands. Wheat is a secret ingredient that comes under Mill Run, Mill Mix, there's snuck in balances as well. And I've got a YouTube video. I linked it for you, but I had one of my first off the track thoroughbreds got really sick from wheat. And back then, this was like 20 years ago, we used to make big wheat bran mashes. I think too, the wheat's deteriorated because we've done a lot of genetic modification. No, okay. Yeah, Kraft. Well, so they sneak them in a lot. That's right, Kraft. They sneak them in a lot of feeds because it's cheap. It's a filler. It's cheap. It's the leftovers from our bread making and all of that, and also grain for cattle and sheep and everything. It's a filler, and horses have such sensitive digestive systems, but also too, wheat is one of the only feeds that will affect horses neurologically and humans. All the celiac disease and things like that. It will change their behavior. I saw a girl that's horse was terrified of her. Like every time she went to try and put her stirrups on a saddle, it's like the horse had been flogged. and was terrified. It was wheat. It was because of the wheat in the horse's diet that the horse was reacting like that. Just amazing. And I know, like Paula was talking about Paula's horse earlier. Paula was one, her horse was reacting to wheat when she first got her off the track. She was feeding a wheat feed. I'm sure she'll confirm that for me when she watches the replay. But let me know how you go with and whether she starts to settle down once the wheat's removed, because I think you're going to find her much easier to work with. And then you can consolidate. So if she's pouring and showing a lot of agitation, I say sometimes you can see changes within 3 days, but I would give it a 7 days to 2 weeks. It might take a little bit longer, but you should be able to start to see a change within a week. And it'll only improve. Now, her digestive system is going to be compromised as well, because usually wheat's going to cause hindgut acidosis, all those things. So you're wanting to look at getting some nice soothing herbs and that in, maybe chamomile flowers is really nice, and doing the whole building up the good bacteria. But because she's come off the track, she, regardless of what you were feeding her, she would have had a compromised digestive system anyway. But doing the high forage, grain free, making sure you have none of those sneaky wheat products in, and doing some maybe slippery elm, bentonite clays are really good to do as well. You've got a good one that you might be able to get over there. The Miracle Clay, it's called Miracle Clay. That's a nice calcium bentonite clay, but all gut soothing. Supplements are really good. But you should be able to see something within a week. So how long has it been since you've stopped her? Only been a few days, hasn't it? And then because you haven't been able to work her, she may be feeling a bit full of herself, but you definitely should be able to see a change. Within 2 weeks, I'd say you start to see a change in her. So you want to be able to make sure that she's not pouring and agitated, and that you can stop and go. Because we're so close to 2 days. Have you 2 days? Yeah. So well, I know I've heard within like about 3-4 days, I've seen people say they've started to see their horse calm down. So I wouldn't worry about it for 7 days. Just see how she goes, and within a week, just maybe next week, just see if you start to see any changes in behavior with her. I'd be really keen to hear. So 2 days might be a bit early. But so good that you stopped. And then also too, if she's got some inflammation and she's got if she's got any gastric ulcers. But if it's particularly the weight that was causing her problems, which I think it has definitely contributed to it, within 7 days, you'll start to see a bit of a change. So before you take her out, you want to make sure that you can do your in-hand work with her, and that she'll stop and stand and head down and relaxed, and that you can you sort of walk her around and slow her down and speed her up. So at least have you stop and go nice and calm and relaxed at home before you take her out. Once she's in hand, and you know that if she gets a little bit excited going out to the confidence booster course, you can sort of at least slow her down and ask her to lower her head, and she can relax. But if you take her out off site and you haven't got the tools to be able to bring her arousal levels down, then it's you're sort of going to create more bad behaviors. So I would wait when you've got her under control, and also too making sure that nothing else affecting her by the feeds. But once you can sort of walk her around and she's nice and relaxed in a stop and go and standing there, teaching her to lower her head. Okay, so head down. Teach her that, because if you take her off site and she gets alert and all of that, you can ask her to lower her head, and that's going to ask her to put her body in a more relaxed position, and that in turn will start to calm her down. So just getting your stop and go and head down responses up to, well, once we start in the course, we're getting up to with the shaping scale, the lesson that I uploaded yesterday in the paid course will take you, that shows you up to, the shaping scale, stop. So basic attempt, obedience level, rhythm level, then you're going to your straightness and your contact and proof. Okay, so you're working up there. So on the shaping scale, having her at least obedience rhythm level where that she'll slow down to a nice light stop response, then you can take her out. And you know that you're going to be able to have control of her and bring her arousal levels down when she's off site. So does that make sense, Lou? We might have a I wonder if I have a time lag with the comments here. Cool. Yeah, let me know how you go. I'm really excited. And I answered, so talking about the flaxseed, so you asked how much flaxseed that you could feed. You can feed up to a cup a day of whole flax seeds. I think you can probably even, I don't know if I'd feed more. You don't want to put too many seeds. Well, like I was talking earlier on for Paula, if she's having problems with weight gain or you're wanting to add cool energy, you can add some oil. There's a bit of with the oil, you don't want to be feeding any of your, because you want to make sure that your omega-3 to omega-6 is low. Too much omega-6 is going to cause inflammation in the body. So canola oil is really good because it has omega-3 in it. And then you can add, so canola oil, I'm not sure if you have any weight problems with her, but just, you can add some oil into her diet as well because you're taking her off the grain-free. If she starts to lose weight, you can add some canola oil in there. For cool energy. I have canola mixed with some. Okay, yeah. So the main thing is to look at the omega-3 to omega-6 levels. A canola rapeseed mixed with sunflower. So sunflower is very high in omega-6. So you're just wanting, but you're adding the flaxseed, which is very high in omega-3. So you can get on Feed Excel. I can look for you actually. I'll follow it up. Feed Excel, but you're not feeding any grains and you're not feeding any rice bran or anything like that. So because they're all high in omega-6, but for cool energy, that oil should be fine, especially if you're feeding the flaxseed. You should be fine with that. But Feed Excel is really good to be able to put in the nutrition calculator, and it will actually bring up everything, all the percentages and the balances. I'm going to do that myself, actually. Yeah, she needs calories. Yeah. Well, you could definitely just switch to straight canola. I just feed, so what I do with mine, I just feed straight canola, and with the horses that need it, and it might be cheaper as well. Straight canola would be fine. As long as it's not, I like to make sure that it's not genetically modified, because the oils now, you have to be careful with what you feed. So find one that might say non-genetically modified. I'm not sure over in Sweden. I know in Australia it says non-genetically modified and Australian made. So a good canola oil, and you can feed, a cup a day. And also you've got your rice, like Paula's changed. If she's struggling with weight, you find she starts to lose weight, you could look at some rice bran as well. You need to make sure that she's getting a good amount of calcium. But you beat like your soybean meal. You're an organic nerd. So am I. So do I. I hate the genetically modified stuffs. Yeah. And I really like a clean diet with the horses, and it's amazing, particularly overseas. So particularly with your over in the UK and the United States, the horse feeds over there are terrible. Like, they're just so full. They even have artificial flavoring and coloring, and I'm just horrified at the feeds over there. And the problem is they have such good marketing, and they're tailored. They make, they say that they support gastric health and all of that, and they're completely the opposite. So having a look at your ingredients and quite often with them as well. I don't know. With your one, with the Crafts one, I think it had the ingredients on there, but quite often the Purina and that won't have a list of the ingredients. So you have to get online and do a bit of a sneaky search, because they won't even have it on their own site. You have to Google the ingredients. But yeah, I really like with my horse's diet. I like a clean diet. I don't feed any commercial feeds as such, but we've got some really good commercial feeds here in Australia. But because I have 19 horses, it's too expensive. But I like to make sure that there's nothing, and I do grain free. Rice bran is good for rice. Rice is a grain, but it's quite lower in starch compared to your barleys and your corns and your things like that. So have a look at oil, and also to just seeing how she is, just see how she holds her weight. Then you can add the oil. Flax seeds are very high in fat, and it's got a good source of protein. You can also look at soybean meal as well. Do you do alfalfa hay over there? Alfalfa's a really good source of protein and calories as well. The flax, can you just when you're looking for a good source of flax, can you I just buy the plain flax seeds and get a coffee grinder? Just chaff. Okay, is that alfalfa chaff? But alfalfa, yeah, just make sure she's got her diet's balanced with the proteins. And I'm really passionate about because of all the problems I've had with my horses, your calcium phosphorus ratio and all of that. So it was okay. Yeah, find a reasonable supply. Yeah, you can get some good. I don't know. There is some good stabilized, because you have to make sure flaxseed's stabilized as well. Yeah, you don't really want molasses. Well, that's sugar. You don't want molasses, so try and get a molasses-free chaff. But if she's getting alfalfa chaff, that's calcium and that's protein. And you've got the hay. She's got a good source of high forage hay and pasture as well, I think, hasn't she? So just see how she goes. Gradually change. Well, you can completely remove that feed and gradually add. So when you add the flax, gradually increase it up to any new changes in feed. Do over a 2-week period, over about 14 days of gradually introducing them. Otherwise, the gut bacteria gets a bit shocked and it goes all haywire. Horses have such sensitive digestive systems. But try and avoid molasses. Once again, we want nice, clean, sugar-free diet. Sugar affects. Hey, Carol, how are you? Haven't seen you for a while. I've been a bit quiet in the Facebook group. My apologies. And on YouTube, I try and get. Yeah, I've just been so busy, and I lost my little puppy. I had to euthanize my little girl a few months ago, and I was very heartbroken. Got very down there for a while, but I'm all good now, back into the new year. No worries. So yeah, let's just keep me updated on how she settles down, and we can talk more in the paid group with how she's going and oils and things like that. Keep me updated. I know, Carol. Yeah, I lost my little. Oh, I was so sad. I had her for 10 years, and she's my baby. But it happens; they don't live as long as us. She had dementia, and she had a wonderful life. So yes. Anyway, I had my sad time, and I'm all good now. How's your boy going, Carol? I haven't seen you yeah, that's probably why. I know the weather's awful over there. I'm so good to hear he's going well. It's just yeah, it's so hard with terrible weather. I know you guys are having a really bad time over there with the weather. We had a really bad time here, our winter, and I just couldn't get anything done. It was just horrible. And so even it's actually not very nice here today. Wintering out like a champ. You've got to have those times, and it's a really good time to do your in-hand work as well. It's amazing what you can do just with leading them in and out. So I've got so many videos to get up on YouTube and also in the paid membership as well, and the Facebook group. But with Nina, because I had a bit of a went downhill a little bit with my mood, with my losing my little puppy. I couldn't, and also the weather that we had. I didn't do a lot of work with Nina, but what I have been doing, it's amazing how she's just changed with leading her back in and out, because she's the one that was really full on in the video, like rearing up. She's very explosive, and she's changed so much just leading it in and out from a yard to a paddock, and that. So it's amazing what you can do, even though you haven't got the weather's bad. Yeah, stopping and haltering and teaching head down. That's so good. Aren't they amazing off the track thoroughbreds? They really are. All the cues, just teaching all your cues. Even, you can teach head down. You don't even have to move with head down. You can be in the yard or the stable. Head down is a fantastic thing to teach your horse, because it changes. Off the track thoroughbreds particularly, they're so braced so often. Well, in racing and in, they're working up on the bit, they're tense, they're tight, and it's a very stimulating environment, and they'll quite often, they're never in a good posture. Well, I mean, the rare one is, but in Australia anyway, they're quite tight in their necks, so, and they don't I've got a video where it took me like 3 days to be able to ask Ty to lower his head. But yeah, Carol, I'm so sorry to hear about your brother. It's horrible, isn't it? Grief is horrible. Horrible. It is horrible. I bought completely talking about head down, but I've got my little minis. So my little minis rug and her collar there. To have it sitting right here, because I know she's still with me. I know she's still with me here. She used to sit on my lap all the time when I was doing my lives. All my other Q&As on Facebook, Minnie was always on my lap. So now I've got little Poppy here. But also too, how beautiful is this? My sister gave me this for Christmas. It's a grief angel, losing your puppy. But look at that. How beautiful is that? Yeah, just beautiful. So Minnie and her rug and her collar are here next to me. Oh, I've got a few collars. I love my animals. I've had a few dogs. Got a few collars around. I keep their little collars. His head goes down automatically now. It's so good to see. He's so chilled all the time. Huh? That's fantastic. Yeah, head down's really good. Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? The angel and that. Beautiful. And I have it here. Beautiful. Yeah, so it's amazing. So head down's fantastic to teach. I've got on YouTube, there's a video teaching head down, but I've got a heap of videos coming up. I have so many videos coming up. It takes me a long while to edit them. My last lesson that I put up in there, I've got a paid Off the Track Thoroughbred Success Academy with online courses in it. Oh my God, my last lesson. So if you ever want to know about that, let me know. I've got some tags in the Facebook group, but it took me so long to get this last lesson up, because it's quite in-depth, this last lesson. It's about the shaping. Yeah, it is the little things that keep us going. They're amazing. Horses and dogs. Animals are precious. They really are. But yeah, the weather, I know the weather's really bad over there for you guys. So in-hand work's a really good time to do that. And also to, working on things like looking at, like with Lou is what's, looking at your feed and the rehabilitation and all of that. It's a really good time to make sure to heal the gut and do all your rehabilitation, things to do when you can't do the weather. Yes, you are going to crush it. Yeah. Look, let me. I'll pop up a link to the. I'll pop up a link to the paid course. So it's there's. I'll do that. Put a note down. I'll put up a link today, Carol, and you can go in and have a look. It's a new Off the Track Thoroughbred Success. I've had it up for a little while now, but it's a community like this. But I do a weekly Zoom. And I have the Kickstart Roadmap course in there. And also, too, I've got another course that I'm building up at the moment, which takes you into the practical retraining, following through. And I've also, so it'll be where all following all my Off the Track Thoroughbreds through their retraining process, doing equitation science principles. And within a year, there'll be so many videos in there. It just takes a while to get things up. And also another great thing about the paid one is I do video assessments. So you can upload a video, you can upload as long as you want, but probably keep it about 10 minutes max, but even like a minute's video, and I do video coaching over it. So I do voiceovers and coach you through. And everyone can go and have a look. It's really good. I'll do that today. I'll upload the tag for you, Carol, and then I'll tag you in it. The link for you. You can have a look. So what I do as well, and I'll do a wonderful one of our members, Nat. She's amazing. It's the academy is really amazing too. It's only new. It's just all this is new to me as well. Seriously, the whole online thing is new to me. It's been a big learning curve. But what I really love about it, because I've worked with Off the Track Thoroughbreds, I've worked in racing for 18 years. I've worked in racing with thoroughbred racehorses for 18 years. I'm retired from track work now. Been off for a year, but I love them so much, and I work with them in racing, and I know what they go through. And a lot of people that take on Off the Track Thoroughbreds are quite novice. We're not when I got off my Off the Track Thoroughbred, I was a novice, and there's no guidance. They're misunderstood, and there's not a lot of training because they're not the same as other horses. They've been through. They're just amazing horses, but they've had a very different life, and a lot of them here in Australia, and I know overseas, end up in sales and doggers and that because they show behaviour issues, or they're so easy to come by, and they're often given away, and then they've got behaviour issues, or they're doing this and that, so then they end up in less than desirable situations. And so what I love is that what I can do, and the more that this grows, because it's only relatively new, is I can help you guys with it. And you don't have to be some super duper horse person to have an Off the Track Thoroughbred. So one of our members, Nat, and she's going to allow me to share her voiceover. So she uploads some really good videos, and she owned her Off the Track Thoroughbred. As a racehorse, she was syndicated in it. And she is sort of our age, or my age. I don't know how old you are, Nat, but I'm 54 on Monday, 53, nearly 54. And she's never owned a horse, and she's just learning to rise to the trot. Like she's just a novice rider, and she's doing amazing. And I just love it because with support and guidance and having someone to reach out to, the Off the Track Thoroughbreds can end up, you don't have to be some super duper fantastic person to some experienced person to own an Off the Track Thoroughbred, but having the support and the guidance and the coaching is what's so wonderful with online. You can go so far, and that's fantastic because she sends me these videos and I get on and I do a voiceover. So you can do that. You can upload videos and I do a voiceover for you. Are you turning 36 on Monday as well? The same day. Lou, you're the same birthday. 23rd of January. Yay. That's why you're an organic nerd. You're an organic nerd because we're both Aquarians. Carol, yeah, I know he's your first off the track thoroughbred. You have started from scratch, Carol. Yeah, it's amazing. It's just, and also the equitation science. This is what I love about equitation science. It is easy for people. If I had known that back when I got I had off the track thoroughbred. 54. Yay. I feel young. I feel young. My ex always tells me how old I look, but I feel young. And equitation science, yeah. So equitation science breaks it down, and it makes, when you understand what you're doing, why you are doing this with your horse, when you understand what to do, why you're doing it, what to expect, and what level to move up to, it makes it so much easier. When you understand why you're doing what you're doing, it makes training easier. It's interesting because I'm actually doing something completely different. I'm learning something else, and it's done in the same framework as equitation science with horse training. And it just makes it, when you practice something, you know why you're doing it. It makes it so much easier. We are spring chickens. Yeah. Hey, age is just a number, isn't it? It really is. Yes, it is. It is young, Lou. Spring chickens, 54 is young. When you're 54, you're going to say it's young. So, yeah, but I'll get, yeah, and that's so in the paid programs, I do video coaching. So you upload a video, and then I go back and I'll do a voiceover and coach you through it. So I'll upload that some in the Facebook group, and you can see what it's all about. But it's really good. It's a work in progress. We're evolving. And you get the first Kickstart online course, and it's going to be so many courses and everything coming up in it, and some on YouTube as well. I'll do the full courses in the academy, and then I'll have a heap up on YouTube. This year's going to be really good. I'll have a heap of videos up. But yeah. Unridden ponies. I know, when you don't, yeah, wow, unridden, that would have been pretty wild. Education really is the key, and that's the wonderful thing about what we have available now, the online coaching and online courses, and it's just amazing. It's really amazing what we can achieve. I've learned so much through online training, and also through the whole COVID too. You know how, because COVID, hiccup, sorry, no one could go out, so everything sort of went online, and it really has it's opened up such a wonderful opportunity to do so much online. It's been it's some good things have come out of COVID, that's for sure. Cool. Okay. Okay, so what I might do, I'll get that. So, Carol, I'll get the links up for you. I'll have to go out now to do my horses, but I'll get them up later today for you, and then tag you in them. And if you have, I might, if you haven't got any other questions, I might finish our live now, and then I'll put a replay up. A replay will be up. I don't know if it goes up automatically. I'll have to. This is a new platform I'm using for the multi-streaming. So I wonder if it's coming up on Facebook. Yeah, I'm doing the diploma now. With the ESI courses, yes. The diploma of equitation science is amazing. So I'm actually doing. Did you buy the? Who else? Might have been Lindsay. So Lindsay's in our paid group, and I think Lindsay bought the equitation science book. So you have a look behind me. I'm doing the diploma of equitation science now. So I'm actually, I'm a full-time student with that. And what I did, so I was really fortunate back in 2000. Did you buy them all? Did you buy all the books? That's, yeah. I was at you as well. I'm pretty sure Lindsay bought them as well. They're so good. I'm ordering Modern Horse Training today. I'm actually going to do that today. There's 3 volumes of that coming out. And I was really, look out for it, Carol. And also the books. So there's the books as well. See you, Carol. I'll tag you later on today. Look out for it in the Facebook group. The equitation science diploma is fantastic. So I was lucky enough to spend a year down with Andrew McLean, Equitation Science, the Australian Equine Behaviour Centre. So I spent a year down there back in 2003 and was learning equitation science back then. It's evolved a lot since then, but I went down there with 2 of my horses. Funny story, actually. And Andrew McLean, so he owned it. And I went down there with my partner at the time, who was quite a lot older than me. This is before I even worked in racing. And he dumped me down there. So he actually dumped me. He broke the relationship up down there. We were down for 8 weeks. He had quite a lot of money. And so he took me and my 2 horses down there. And we were together for years and years and years. But he wanted to go and learn from Andrew. And then he broke the relationship up down there when we were living in Victoria here in Australia. Well, they were down in Victoria. And I was like, we were living together. And I thought, I was so upset. But I came back up to Sydney. I left my horses down there, moved out, packed all my stuff up and went back down to the Australian Equine Behaviour Centre and spent a year down there as a working pupil and a student. And with my 2 horses, my off-the-track thoroughbred Moto and my beautiful warm blood cross Toby. And I spent a year down there competing and... Oh, Lou, you are Lindsay. Oh, I'm getting so confused. I'm so sorry. Of course, yeah, you did. So, sorry. You bought the academic online PDF, but it was... So you bought wait tick. Don't they have that? They might not. They don't have the hardcover anymore. Is this the one you bought? That's the one you bought? Yeah, it was your online. Don't worry, I've got online. I was thinking, I'm sure I get confused because I've got quite a few members. And I get, who else? Oh, so Sarah Becker, you know Sarah Becker. She's got some funny alias. I think it's on YouTube actually. Do they not have it? They don't have it as a hardcover anymore. As you should be able to get it. You should be able to get it as a. You should be able to get it as a. Well, I don't think it came in hardcover, soft like it's paperback, but you should be able to get it somewhere else. There's a. Let me have a look. Because I love the books as well. I've got so many books. There's Google saying you're in Sweden, so it's going to be different. I'd look at other links. I can find out for you. I don't even know. Does Amazon.com might even have it. I'm sure you should be able to get one somewhere. No copies at all. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a bugger. That's a bugger. I might be able to. No, not on Amazon either. Wow. I'm going to Google here. Well, I wouldn't. I wouldn't worry too much because the second one, so there's modern horse training, the second one is going to, the third one. Oh, yeah, the second and third one is going to be an updated version of this. So what you get, and it's going to be updated. So I've got, I don't know if I'd shared this with you, Lindsay, but this was the first one. Look at this. This is The Truth About Horses. That was their first book. And when I was down there, they wrote that. I'm probably sound like I'm screaming, am I? But this was the first book, and it gets updated. So the next 2 volumes apparently are going to be out over the next few months. So everything you get in there at Practical is going to be in the next 2 volumes, and it'll be updated. But this is The Truth About Horses, and this was Andrew's first or second book, and Andrew signed it for me because they were doing, he was writing this when I was down there, and my horse is in this one. I'll show you my horse, my beautiful Toby. Where is he? Toby. And the clicker training. That's my horsey. That's my beautiful Toby doing the clicker training. I know. Heartbreaking. I lost him. You know, I had terrible problems. Once again, this is why I'm so grain-free. That's my Toby. I can't remember her name, but I was down there when Andrew was writing this book. So this is all the information that's in this is in the other one. It's updated, but you get 2. This one's really good as well. Equitation Science, the second edition, is really good, but that's more scientific if you love the scientific side of it. But that's that. Yeah, this is, so I've got that you wouldn't be able to get. This is a hardcover. This is going to be like a relic, this one. Let me see if I can horse books. What's it called? Academic horse training. Academic. Let's have a look. No, they don't have. Yeah, there's there's only the DVDs. There's DVD set. That's quite old too. Well, that's back, but they don't have the book in here either. No, it must it must be unavailable now. That's okay. You'll find everything you'll get in the second and third volume. So look forward to that. It'll be really exciting. And that one out. Okay. So I might leave it there. Keep me updated, Lindsay, on how your mare goes with the removal of the weight, and we can talk more. We can talk more about just see how she goes, and then just see how she settles down and what in-hand work that you can get done. And once you've got her, you know, she's not agitated and all of that, and nice and relaxed in the in-hand work, then you can take her out to those clinics, which will be really good. Do you have any equitation science trainers over there, I wonder? I can find out for you, actually. Oh, my little Poppy wants to. Come here, Pop. She wants to sit on my lap. There's Poppy. She's taken, well, her and Minnie used to sit on my lap. Hey? You're so cute. Yeah, I'm going to do this this is really good because I'm going to do this every week. For also, isn't she cute? For all our paid members and free. And then we've got our Zoom that we do in the paid. And yeah, so good to have both. Isn't she cute? Keep me updated. Okay, well, I'll leave it there, and I'll see everybody in the Facebook group, and I'll see you. I'll catch you later. Lindsay, check out the other lesson that I uploaded yesterday, but I'll touch base with you guys later today in the academy. See ya.